Let's Get Down to Business is presented by Bravo, the marketing arm of Ash Brokerage Corporation, the practice enhancement company. All this week, we're addressing the Social Security system. And on today's show, the history of Social Security. And with me today, Ken Davis, CLU, CHFC, CFP. Hi, everyone. I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and contributing author to Backroom Technician. Let's get down to business. Well, welcome to the show, Ken.
Hey, Steve. Good to see you again.
I tell you what, we're talking about Social Security, your wheelhouse subject. I know you like to talk about this. And remember, everybody, keep in mind, I have a CPA in the house today, and we're talking about America's retirement plan. Listen, we may have other plans, but for most Americans, and I'm not saying this is a good or a bad thing, for most Americans, Social Security is their only retirement plan. Ken, I mean, that's the way it is.
Well, and it's not for trying, a lack of trying. A whole lot of the baby boom generation started mid-40s, which is typical for retirement planning, to put money away, and unfortunately hit a 10-year period in the stock market where they were lucky to be flat by the end of 10 years. So they're now faced with the fact that they're 10 years closer to retirement, and suddenly their Social Security is becoming an even more important part of their total picture. We used to talk about the three-legged stool, and this was one of the three legs. Well, it's almost getting down to a two-legged stool, and not very stable.
Now, when this first started, I think FDR, the Congress back in the day, they were doing this so everybody would have something at retirement. They didn't want people entering in their golden years in such utter poverty. So I get the intent, but I don't know if the math adds up sometimes. And this is what we're talking about today. I noticed at the beginning that we didn't have any taxation of benefits back in the day when it first started.
Well, you had two things going on. The fact is, whenever you have benefits, it becomes political. And of course, to bring in new votes, government's always promising us more and more. And so people used to die at 65. And hate to be so blunt, but that's the fact. There wasn't that many people, and it didn't last that many years beyond 65. Well, now that our generation is living well into their 80s and 90s, and with what's going on with stem cell research and everything else, we may see ourselves having 100-plus year-old clients. And so that's a problem. And then I think back in 1980 with the Reagan administration of all people, which was known for cutting taxes, well, they actually increased Social Security taxes to strengthen the whole system back then. And at the same time, they introduced taxation of Social Security income, which was the first time, and you would have thought there was a hue and cry of, you're going to tax my Social Security income? Oh my gosh. And even today, people don't know that it can be taxed. Well, they started with the rich people. They put a threshold you had to cross before you would be taxed. And so there was such a small amount of the population, there really wasn't that hue and cry.
Well, when I think of it, I was out on the web, and this article is about a couple of years back. And this is a Democratic senator from Tennessee, and they were just basically doing a Q&A session with him. But one of the thoughts, two lines in here caught me really excited. I want you to talk about it. It says here, it says that most Americans don't understand that the federal entitlements are not bank account programs that hold their money. Now, Ken, I'm sorry, but until I read this 3 years ago, I thought it was.
Well, there's nothing in the Constitution that requires Social Security to be paid. Okay, so Congress can pretty much, at a whim, change the rules of the game along the way.
Which they have already.
Which they have, and they continue to. And I think we're going to continue to see more changes. I think it has to be done. The system, with a huge amount of baby boomers running into retirement, can't be supported with a smaller group of employees, putting money in. Contrary to popular belief, there are no stocks, bonds, real estate, or whatever sitting in an investment account like your pension plan. It's simply one hand of the government lending it to the other hand of the government.
Well, when I'm looking at I love this line. He says, the question is, are these benefits vested? And of course, the representative, Cooper, says that the Social Security benefits, well, they're not really vested, and they're not even promises. He said these are just scheduled benefits, and most Americans aren't even aware of it. See, they're not vested. There's not a separate account. And right now, the obligation that you said, because again, the number one risk to retirement right now is human longevity. So Social Security is a major issue, and it's become part and parcel. You said the three-legged stool. Remember, there are people that are depending on this as their sole income for retirement.
Well, and I'm doing this at the top of my head. My statistics may be a little bit off, but I recall the actuaries are stating, with the system as it is today, is projected to last through something like 2034 before it would have to be adjusted, and then the income stream could support maybe 75% of the benefits we have today. So a lot of people think, oh, it's going to go away. Well, no, it's not going to go away, but it could be substantially reduced. And so something has to be done to either lengthen ages even further before you can get full retirement age, which they've already done. I suspect they'll probably do more of it. They may raise taxes to increase it. I mean, the Obamacare taxes is an attempt to raise additional revenues to support our social programs. But there's only so much you can do in raising taxes before you kill the economy. So their hands are tied. And up until now, we've been borrowing a lot from the Chinese. We're basically, our pension plans are, the money we spend is Chinese money. But that has to stop at some point in time. So either the benefits get reduced, pushed out, delayed, or taxes go up. Something has to give, but it doesn't look good right now.
Well, every time I'm talking to advisors, and advisors come to me and they say, Steve, how do I enter the senior market? And I say, you really need to look at Social Security. It's a really gateway into the senior market, into elder care. You're going to have to understand the mechanics of Social Security. That's why we're talking about it all this week. We're going to not only talk about the dilemma, the challenge, the taxes, all the things that work on the balance sheet, your 1040, but we're also going to talk about some of the resolutions, the products, the ideas and concepts that can actually reduce your taxation of your Social Security benefits.
Well, think about how we approach clients. None of us want to go to the client, oh, you want to buy an annuity? You want to buy a life insurance policy? You want to do a reverse mortgage, whatever? We just can't do that. They're not going to listen to us. But if you approach them and say, hey, would you like to maximize your Social Security income? They're interested.
Right.
Now you're not selling them anything, you're selling a service maybe, but you're not selling a product.
I want to sell a product that I know I can get to the bank and get myself in front of seniors. When we come back from the break, we're going to introduce you to the Social Security system the way it is today and walk you through the current understanding of your benefits during retirement. And don't forget, you can request any of the show's documents that we use as sample examples from Backroom Technician at ashbrokerage.com. And don't forget, you can sign up for your own 30-day free trial offer from Backroom Technician. Just go out to their site, www.brtnow.com/trialsignup.aspx. We'll be right back after this break.
Take a close look at your hard-earned dollar. How do you think your money's doing? Are you keeping an eye on it? Is it protected from taxes, inflation, and market risk? Over time, those Washingtons could become Franklins. With tax-advantaged indexed universal life, from one of the largest distributors of indexed universal life, Ash Brokerage.
Well, welcome back. I'm Steve Savant with Ken Davis, and remember, you can watch our episodes, all of them. Let's get down to business, including my weekly consumer show, Steve Savant's Money, the name of the game, right at ashbrokerage.com. Just click on the show logo when you come to our homepage, and it'll take you right out there. And just a heads up, before moving forward with any of the ideas you hear on our show, always consult your tax advisor or your legal counsel, as well as your broker-dealer compliance officer. Well, let's get down to business. Ken, we're talking about introducing kind of what today, we talked about what back in the day, but today it's what we're living on, the current system. It seems to me to be somewhat punitive. I just have to say, from a tax point of view, I didn't see any inflation along all this time. Even when Reagan changed kind of the map in 1980, we did not get any inflation on this. So now we're looking at, I think, ordinary income tax levels that could be exposed at the 50 and the 85%. Talk about this, because I think people are like, they don't understand how big this is.
Well, I think we talked in the segment how much more dependent Americans are, retirees, on the Social Security Administration. So there's really two strategies that we as advisors can help with. One is to increase the benefits that they receive from the system, and number two is how to reduce the taxation of those benefits. And that's really what we're going to be talking more about the second today than the former.
Well, here's what I would like to talk about. I hear that we are leaving serious money on the table, that we don't know our benefits if we would just delay or defer them to age 70. I hear there's huge impact, and for the boomers, we're retiring now. Our age group, our demographic, we're the largest retiree coming as far as a population.
Well, let's go through a simple example of that. Full retirement age, FRA, as the system defines it, for the baby boom generation is age 66. Those coming down the path, that's going to be 67, 68, et cetera. Right now, the baby boom generation with a full retirement age of 66 have the opportunity to do a couple things. One, like 70% of Americans elect at 62. I'm not sure they understand that if their full retirement age would give them $2,000 a month, they're taking a 25% hit to $1,500 a month in that example, or $1,000 becomes $750 a month. Simply by waiting until full retirement age, you get the full benefit, plus you avoid, if you're still working, having your benefits reduced or delayed. Once you get full retirement age, you have a choice. You can continue on, and the carrot the government's giving you is large, in my opinion. They will give you 8% increase of your full retirement age base every year until age 70. That means 4 years times 8 is 32% more. So 2,000 at 62 is 1,500. At full retirement age of 66, it's 2,000. At age 70, it's now $2,640 a month. Compare that to 1,500. It's pretty close to double. Okay, not quite there, but anyway, the fact is delaying your Social Security benefits can be huge. And where in the heck, a lot of people say, well, I want it early, I'll just go invest it, and I want the money, I want control of it. It may not be there tomorrow. We can all argue that, but assuming that it is, and I think it will be in some form, is it's going to be there. Take the 8% if you can. Now, if you think you're going to, you're sick and you're going to die early, that's a different story. But if you're of a normal health, average health, or better, then delaying the benefit and living off other sources of income is a better way to go. And that's where the advisor can really step in, is first show the clients how they can get these huge additional benefits, and then find ways to fill in the gap while they're waiting, or they may just want to work till 70.
Well, Ken, I was a little surprised because generally, when I'm looking at Social Security, I look at this. I thought it was an even-handedness in its benefits, in its taxation. I mean, I was completely a rookie a couple of years back before we started talking about this. I did not realize the impact, and also that the 132% that you talk about, boomers, the succeeding generations will not get that number. It's actually now starting to become less to hold it that long. So, really, there's some art to this now.
Well, there is, and fortunately, there's some software packages on the market, which we're not promoting anybody's business today, that will help you do literally hundreds of calculations. You've got, and the strategies we're talking about, not only just delaying, but if you have two people, a couple, either a currently married couple or a couple that had been married 10 years or more that are now separated or divorced and single, they can still use these strategies to add 50,000, 100,000, 200,000 in today's dollars of additional lifetime benefit. And those strategies have become very popular. It's a great way to help our clients, to introduce ourselves to new clients, to get our foot in the door, and then we can pivot to, okay, we just helped you make all this additional income, or potentially all this additional income. Would you like to reduce the taxation of that income? Well, you're going to get a couple of responses. What? It's taxable? Well, it may very well be. I didn't know that. Or two, well, of course I do. And then that's where we can start doing planning for deferral, reduction of taxes now. Not just growing the income, but letting them keep more of it and put more of it in their pocket.
Well, it's one thing for the taxation, but you just brought up another issue that we're talking about, which is people don't know that there are partial benefits to be had. I'm not going to take constructive receipt of my Social Security till I'm 70. Let's say I buy into that theory because I like 8%. But on top of that, I might be able to get partial, my spouse might be able to get partial benefits at age 66, and that money is just sitting on the table. It's not going to injure my age 70 benefits.
This is too rich of an area to get too detailed,
Right.
but basically be aware that there are strategies for couples or prior married couples that were together 10 years plus, where they can take a partial benefit called a spousal benefit or a survivor benefit on a former spouse or current spouse. Obviously, if they've deceased, it's survivor, they're not around anymore. But take that while you're delaying your own. So you're not going to replace all of it, but you'll get a portion of it. And you can let yours grow while you're taking this partial benefit. And then once you turn 70, you switch back to your own.
I don't even think, we're talking about taxation. I don't even think people know about that. We might have to come on this to talk about this again tomorrow, because I think it's really that important for us to know all the benefits and all the money that's being left on the table. For people that are making serious money, this could be 6 figures.
Absolutely.
Well, that's our show for today. I want to remind you that you can read all my online insurance news commentary, advisor blogs, and articles on Producer's Web, and my answers to consumer questions on Insurance Library. And remember, you can view all our shows on our on-demand video section located at Ash Brokerage. So don't forget to follow me on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, or just email me, steve.savant@ashbrokerage.com. And remember, you could be wiser as an Ash Brokerage advisor. I'm Steve Savant. See you tomorrow.